Ladies and gentlemen, good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to a very special webinar that AFRA is staging today in partnership with APG. The workshop is on NDC implementation, and the theme for today's discussion is implementation and opportunities for NDC. Thank you for joining us in very good numbers. And we look forward to having very insightful discussions today. We joined by a total of over 130 registrations from airlines and a few service solution providers, from payments, from similar stakeholders. And we are quite pleased with this good turnout. From the airlines, we have 24 African airlines. I think, in fact, we have 27 African airlines, mainly from representatives from senior planning. We also see some from commercial departments, heads of distribution, chief finance officers, chief commercial officers, chief information officers. We also have marketing officers, planning officers, and a few regional heads, country manager. We also have regional directors. A very good mix for the subject of the discussion today. And looking at the key theme for the workshop, what are we expected to learn from today? The workshop will apprise participants on how NDC can help airlines generate additional revenue, and will be tailored to consider applications for African airlines. So we're really looking at an African-specific kind of discussion. So what is NDC about, and how can we make it work for Africa? What are the challenges? Those few airlines that have implemented NDC, what is their experience like? And to help us understand this, we have the pleasure of getting use cases from Kenya Airways and from Ethiopian Airlines. So the NDC program managers from Kenya Airways and Ethiopian Airlines will later on in today's webinar share with us their story. What did it take to implement NDC for them? Were there any challenges? Do they see NDC being relevant or not? And it helps us to learn from other people's experiences. And also we can ask them a few questions when they make their interventions. So ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and stay tuned to a very informative and insightful 2.5 hours on NDC implementation and opportunities in Africa. And at the tail end of today's webinar, we have a very special announcement that you do not want to miss. What AFRA and APG are preparing for the African airline industry, and a very important collaborative framework. So I'll make that announcement when we reach to the tail end of the workshop. Stay tuned and listen in. A couple of announcements on how we shall run the show. We have activated your audio functionalities, and we request you to keep your microphones muted all through the discussions unless you've been given the floor to ask the questions. We will take the questions on the Q&A tab and also the comments, but we request that for ease of the discussions, please post your questions on the Q&A tab. And for your comments, please use the chat box. And for the session, when we have the presenters making the interventions, if you have a question, we welcome you to raise it so that we don't lose track of the discussions. So if you have a question, raise your hand, or you can just post your question on the Q&A tab, and I'll be happy to coordinate how we can get the presenter to answer those questions. My name is Maureen Kahonge, Senior Manager, Business Development at the African Airlines Association, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. In terms of our speakers, our main expert from APG, Ms. Eloise Parrin, who is APG Platform Executive Product Director, will be our main speaker. Ms. Eloise has a wide range of experience and perspective referring to the subject matter on NDC, and she's quite interactive with the airlines. In terms of the use cases, we'll have Ms. Doreen Maiteri, who is Kenya Airways NDC Program Manager, and Mr. Elias Gezagen, who is the Product Manager of NDC at Ethiopian Airlines. To take you through the program of the day, we've done the welcome and the introduction aspects, and we shall start with remarks from the AFRA Secretary General, Mr. Abderrahmane Eberte, and a few remarks from APG representatives just to set the scene of the discussion. And we shall have a brief state of the airline industry from AFRA. This shall be presented by Mrs. Flora Rono, Manager, Data and Statistics. And then we shall delve into the key focus of the workshop today. How does NDC help airlines to generate additional revenue? Subsequent to that, we shall look at NDC implementation step by step. And we have planned to have a short health break, 5 minutes, after which we shall embark on the airline use cases, Kenya Airways, followed by Ethiopian Airlines. And after those two use cases, we shall have a presentation of the APG platform, the APG NDC solution, and we shall open the floor for an interactive session to further take any questions that were not raised during the discussion. And then we shall wrap up and close and make our special announcement that I mentioned a bit earlier. Without further ado, we start the discussions of the day. I start by inviting Mr. Abderrahmane Eberte, AFRA Secretary General, to make his welcome remarks. AFRA?
Thank you, Maureen. First, I want to welcome all the large number of participants to this workshop. Thank you, Ms. Eloise Parel, our main speaker for this workshop. I take also the opportunity to thank Kenya Airways and Ethiopian Airlines for sharing their experience on NDC implementation. And APG and AFRA as are partnering for so many years now, and I'm happy to see this workshop today. In a competitive market, sales and distribution and revenue generation are critical for our airlines' performance. We know also new technologies are revolutionizing the tools available for airlines. NDC is one of these tools. However, at AFRA, we notice its implementation is challenging in Africa. For that reason, I commend KQ and Ethiopian Airlines for being pioneers on NDC implementation and sharing their experience today during this workshop. Our expectation at AFRA is a better understanding of NDC and its benefits for African airlines. And again, thank you, APG, and I wish us all a very fruitful workshop. Thank you very much. Over to you, Maureen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eberte, for those few remarks to set up the scene of today's discussions. I also welcome from the side of APG, if you can have some welcome remarks from Eloise, and then we can start the webinar. Eloise, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much for this webinar. Thank you for giving the opportunity to present to the airlines partners in Africa what is NDC, what are the steps to follow to implement NDC if you want to go into this technology. I think it is crucial to be part of this new game. And I'm very happy to share my experience about that with you. So thank you, AFRA, for giving me this opportunity, giving APG this opportunity. I have worked for APG since 12 years now, and we have developed our NDC product 5 years ago, and we have now good numbers with this product. So I'm very happy to share this experience with all of you. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Eloise Baran, for those remarks. Quite rich experience, and we do look forward to hearing from you on your insights as you take us through the various facets of today's workshop. Also to mention from APG, we have quite a good number of APG representatives present in today's discussions. We have Umar Kuyate, Manager, APG. We have Omnia Kamal, APG Egypt Director. We have Salma Ahmed, APG Sales and Marketing Coordinator, APG Egypt. We have Greg Fuller, Director, APG South Africa. And we have Vidisha Ketur, Sales and Marketing Coordinator, Rogers Aviation. We also have Ibra One, based in Dakar, APG Senegal. Thank you for making this happen today. To set also the state of the industry, just to give us a sneak peek of what is the status of the aviation performance in Africa. As of date, we have the AFRA Data and Statistics Manager, Ms. Flora Rono, who will make a few slides to give us a perspective and understanding of the status. Flora, I hand over the floor to you.
Thank you, Maureen. Greetings to you all. As far as state of the industry is, I shall be taking us through 10 KPIs. And I'll begin with the first one, which highlights the number of seats in Africa. And here we shall look at global Africa, then have a look also at the intra-Africa. In the month of August 2023, global Africa recorded 16,421,191 number of seats, whereas in August 2024, there was an increase by 831,778 seats, resulting to 5%. This shows there were new routes, there was also network attrition, they were upsizing, and there are also negative factors that resulted to a decrease, that is cancelled routes. We had network attrition, and we also had downsizing. So that's an highlight from the global Africa perspective. We now move on to the second part, which is for intra-Africa. And we can also see for number of seats in Africa, there was an increase by 106,380, which is 1.2% increase compared to where we were in the month of August 2023. The same factors still apply. Yes, there are new routes. There was the issue of network attrition, upsizing, and the negative factors as well. Cancelled routes, we talk of downsizing, and this recorded a positive increment. Next slide now, onto the second key performance indicator. And here we are looking into the capacity share of African airlines. And as at May 2024, we can see for international capacity repartition, African carriers had a dominance of 50.1% compared to the non-African carriers, which represented 49.9%. Whereas when we look at the intercontinental capacity, we can see African carriers were at 37.1% compared to the non-African carriers, which were dominating with 62.9%. in terms of capacity share, intercontinental capacity. Now we focus on the third KPI, that is on available seat kilometers evolution, and to the left we can see a trend as from the month of January 2024 to July 2024, which is exponential. The growth has been good in terms of ASKs, and the same is outlined even at the right side of the line graph, whereby we can see for year 2024 we are way above what we had in the year 2023. Looking basically to the last month of July, we can see ASK evolution was a 9% increment compared to where we were in the month of July 2023. To the fourth key performance indicator here, we are looking into airlines passengers in terms of million pax, and there's a trend that has resulted from 2019 to date. You can see for welcome back, and we'll proceed with the number of passengers carried,
Laura,
showing a trend.
please allow me to share the screen so that we may take it from where we got broken off. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for the technical hitch. Laura, you can proceed.
Thank you, Maureen. So I shall pick up from the African passengers carried from 2019 to date, and from the graphical presentation, we can see 2024, we estimate 98 million passengers, which is a 15% increment as compared to 85 million passengers in the year 2023. So this is an increment, and looking back again to the year 2019, still we are way far above by 1-point-something% in terms of passenger carried for African airlines. So we proceed now on to the next slide, focusing on KPI number 5. And here I shall be talking about traffic share of African airlines. And again, we shall focus on international traffic repartition, and then to the left side also we see there is intercontinental traffic repartition. And here we see that African carriers had again the biggest proportion in terms of traffic share, whereby the proportion was 51.0%, whereas non-African carriers recorded 49.0% in terms of traffic share. Looking into the intercontinental traffic repartition, we see non-African carriers are dominating again, where they recorded in the month of May 2024, 63.4% compared to African carriers with 36.6%. To the next slide. So again, in terms of revenue passenger kilometers, you can see the trend has been exponential from January to date, and the same event is outlined on the side of the graph, whereby we have a comparative analysis showing 2024 is still way above as compared to where we were in the year 2023. The same recorded an increase for the month of July 2024, whereby we have 1.3% increase compared to where we were last year in terms of revenue passenger kilometer. Next, KPI number 7. So for KPI number 7, we are looking into intra-African connectivity from our major hubs in the sub-regions. These are Eastern Africa, whereby we see Addis Ababa, Nairobi. For the Southern Africa, we have Johannesburg and Lusaka. Northern, we have Cairo and Casablanca. For Central and Western Africa, we have Abidjan and Lome. And from this, we can see the trend for the last 2 years has also been good. It's been exponential. Most of the regions are experiencing a positive connectivity rate, as the trend highlights in the graphical presentation. To KPI number 8, here we see connectivity in terms of capacity, and Fourth freedom constituted to the biggest proportion with 40%, followed by third freedom, 39%. And for the fifth freedom, it was still the lowest with 21%. Slide number 9, that is on cargo traffic in Africa. And the same we see in the month of June 2024, there was 135.5 million kgs cumulatively for both inbound and outbound. And from region-wise insights, we can see East Africa is still leading, followed by Southern Africa. And in terms of cargo traffic, Central Africa is still experiencing low cargo traffic. The same applies to even the market share. We see in terms of market share, again, East Africa is still leading. On a cumulative basis for all the regions, we have 30.8%, 30.8% on year, but comparatively from January to June, we are still at 31.5%, which is a decrease by 0.7% as compared to where we were last year. And finally, I shall highlight on passenger revenue. And in terms of passenger revenue in billion USD, we can see from the 2023 trend vis-a-vis 2024, there's been a positive increase even for the subsequent months from January to May. May recording a 4% increase. That's recorded as 0.07 USD in billions increase for the month of May 24. So as far as industry state is, back to you, Maureen, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Flora. Flora is the Data and Statistics Manager at AFRA for this insightful State of the Industry presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we usually have the monthly industry affairs the last Wednesday of every month at 1300 hours East Africa time, where we do a webinar to update the industry on the economic and airline performance, as well as various aeropolitical developments. Follow that particular webinar to keep up to date with the state of the industry and specific developments in the African region of interest. And now we shall delve into the core of the workshop to start with the first presentation on how NDC can help airlines generate additional revenue. And this shall be done by our expert from APG, Ms. Eloise Parent. Eloise, I'll stop sharing my screen so that you can share your slides. And as Ms. Eloise Parent shares her slides, ladies and gentlemen, just to ensure we are all up to date with the rules of the game, please keep your microphone muted and unless you have the floor. If you want to make an intervention, please post your question on the chat box. You can also post it on the Q&A. We prefer to have the Q&A tab so that we can identify the questions. You can put your comments on the chat box. And allow me to acknowledge the presence of AFRA Distribution Committee Chairman, Mr. Desta Getane, who is the Commercial Director at Royal Eswatini Airlines. Thank you, Desta, for joining us. We also have the AFRA Distribution Committee Vice Chair, who is Lillian Masawe, Head of Commercial and Ground Operations at Precision Air. We have various committees, and AFRA Distribution Committee focuses on matters on airline distribution, settlement, and payments. And one of the key actions for this year was to sensitize airlines on NDC implementation. Thank you, and I now hand over the floor to you, Ms. Eloise, to take us through the next presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to present how NDC can help the airlines to generate additional revenue. So first question, and I think, Maureen, there is a question into the chat. Are you familiar with NDC?
My colleague DC will launch the poll question on the screen. Be closing the poll question in a few seconds. Thank you for your participation. So the first choice is yes, I am familiar with NDC. B, I have some knowledge about NDC. And C, I am not familiar with NDC.
Okay, good.
End the poll and share the results on the screen. Eloise?
Yes. So you can see the result. So 42% are familiar with NDC, 31% have some knowledge, and 27% are not familiar with NDC. So in my presentation, I'm going to share with you some information about this new technology. And do not hesitate to ask some questions into the chat. Few things could remain unclear. And at the end, you will have the opportunity to ask also some questions. So the first thing is to check what is NDC. NDC is something not so new now, but it remains new because plenty of airlines are implementing step-by-step this new technology. So NDC is a new standard. It was created by IATA and they started to develop it in 2017. It is another technology of what we are using with traditional GDS. So with traditional GDS, we are using EDIFACT technology. It's something different. With NDC, we are using XML. So XML technology is the technology used on the websites in many industries. Everywhere people are using XML technology. This technology is not new. The thing which is new is the NDC standard used by the airlines. XML technology is already used to develop the merchant websites. So I think if you have a merchant website, this is with this technology. And the NDC standard objective is to help the airlines to exchange easily information together and with travel agency and aggregators. So by the past, we had XML technology, and it's like if each airline was speaking its own language. Like we are all speaking different languages everywhere in the world. So it was difficult for each airline to speak together or to speak with aggregators or travel agency. The idea, the objective for NDC is to have the same language everywhere for each airline and each aggregator or travel agency. So that's it. NDC is a common language, and you can use it, the airlines can use it to speak together or with the travel agency and the aggregators. So traditional GDS, we are using EDIFACT technology. The EDIFACT technology is very limitative. there is a limitation to alphanumeric information. So when you are using a GDS, you have letters and numbers, and that's it. It's not possible to have a rich content to use better content. So it's more difficult for the travel agencies because they have to know perfectly the codes. So all the people working in the industry for many years know already all the codes, but for the newcomers, it's difficult to learn. NDC aggregators are using XML technology, which is more flexible, and it gives the possibility to use a lot of different content, rich content. So it's possible to use video, to use sound, to use many different things. Edifact and NDC technologies will cohabit for several years because, of course, you are present in GDS Edifact, and it will remain like that for many years because the process to change the use of people and to change the technology for each airline or each travel agency is very long. So it will take a lot of time, and we will have both technology for many years. But more and more, the airlines are using NDC and XML technology, and the travel agencies too. So I think we have to be part of this new game. NDC and new opportunities. So for the moment, 74 airlines are already certified NDC. Many big carriers, and because it's a big investment for each one, there is 30 system providers for airlines existing. So it is a provider you will contact to create your API, to create your NDC product. So you have Fairlogix, Amadeus, TP-Connect, a lot of technology provider can help you with that. 52 system provider for sale can help the airlines to sell NDC content. Sabre, Amadeus, Travelport. You have also some aggregators working with travel agency, Duffel, TravelScale, Travel Fusion, etc., and APG platforms. So it is APG product. So this is, you know, the environment, the actors present for NDC. So the airlines have to create their product with the system providers, such as Fairlogix, and they will sell NDC content with a system provider for seller, such as Sabre, Duffel, or APG platform. So what are the advantages for the airlines to implement NDC? First, it's allow you to manage your sales strategy. It will give you a lot of possibilities, more possibilities with what you have with GDS Edifact. It will give you, you know, open up markets. You will access to non-BSP markets because if you are not in classic GDS, you are working with aggregators, you have not this limitation of BSP markets. It is, of course, cost efficient. It's an investment at the beginning, but once this investment is done, it will give you the possibility to sell as much as you want, and without limitation. And you can target IATA and non-IATA travel agency. Same, you have not a limitation of the BSP, so it gives you the opportunity to work with all the travel agencies, directly or non-directly, but we will see that later. So it is cost efficient. Why it is cost efficient? You will increase direct sales without additional cost. For the moment, when the airline is selling through the GDS, it is costly. Here with NDC technology, XML technology, you will go directly to the customer. It's similar to the sales you have on your website. It is direct sale, no additional cost. You avoid GDS surcharge. You can use dynamic pricing. So dynamic pricing is, in fact, when you are working in GDS Edifact, you can use 26 letters and fair basis, etc., to create your price. Dynamic pricing makes you able to create as far as possible, there is no limitation. The technology gives you the possibility to have something very dynamic without limitation. And you will have less development to do to connect aggregators and service providers because you will speak the same language. So the development to connect to a new aggregator or new travel agency will be very quick. It will take something like 1 or 2 months instead to take several months or years. What are the constraints for the airlines? So you need to use XML language. It's an obligation. You have to develop your API. So API, it is the interface you will use to add NDC content. So if you develop your API with an IT provider such as Farlogix, Amadeus, Navitaire, etc., you will create your API and you will use NDC content and you will be able to add some content in your API, in your interface. The development, of course, is costly. It's an investment to do once, and after that, it will be cost efficient, but you have to make this investment. And after that, when you have developed you are using XML language, you have developed your API, you will have to sign new agreements with aggregators and travel agencies. So NDC could be non-relevant for the airlines because for small airlines with 2 or 3 aircraft, maybe it's not relevant, but it is important to be connected to an aggregator or to a provider. We will distribute you with NDC content through other aggregators. So if you are not going on your own on NDC, you have to go with a partner who will go there for you. So have you some questions?
Thank you, Eloise. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first part of the presentations for today's workshop, we now open the floor for any questions, any comments you may have. And I see one from Desta Getane. Eloise, Desta asks, why are the APIs costly?
The APIs are costly because you have to change all your how can I say, your technology, the codes. You have to code everything. When you are creating a price, fare structure, the settings, you know, the seats, all the ancillary services you have, everything, all this part has to be coded. So it's a very long process for the IT provider to create the API because they have to change to take everything you have and to code everything. So it's a very long process for the IT provider. It's like to learn a new language, you know, to change the way you are doing. They have to take everything and to adapt it.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Desta. I see we have Mr. Berthes' hand raised. AFRAA-APG.
Thank you, Maureen. My question was also about the cost of the API interface. I want to know if Eloise can give us an average cost for airlines to develop this API interface. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. It's very difficult to give an idea about the price because it depends where the airline is. If the airline is already using XML technology, it will be of course cheapest because half of the job has been done. If the airline has if you want to add in the API everything, I mean the price, the possibility to issue tickets, the price, the fare structure and everything, it will be, of course, less expensive. But if you want to add also ancillary services after sales operation, it will be more costly. So it depends where the airline is, what is the sales strategy, and we will see later the first step is to define a sales strategy. Why do you want to implement NDC? And depending on your sales strategy and where you are technology with the technology, it will be more or less expensive. But it's very hard to define a price without have done an audit of the airline.
APG is a provider, API interface provider as well, or not?
No, we are not creating API. We are an aggregator, in fact, for the airlines. So when the airline has already its own API, we can connect the airline API to our platform, to our APG platform. So we are taking the content from the airline. The IT provider to create the API, the main one we are working with are Fairlogix, Amadeus, Navitel, TP Connect, and you have around 30 IT providers. So it's important, I think, to contact different IT providers to check what could be done.
Thank you, Eloise. I hope that addresses your question, SG.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Eloise, we have quite a number of questions. The next one is from Ibom Air, Udeme Ubo, asks, for an airline with a fleet of 9 aircraft that is considering to sign up with a GDS, would you recommend this airline to proceed with the GDS agreement or rather go with the NDC as a way of distribution?
I think you have to keep the agreement with the GDS because the GDS is still the main way to sell the seats. 9 aircraft is not so much, and I think the NDC development will be very costly for a little small airline. So the best is to connect to another provider with XML technology, but not NDC. And to be sure, this aggregator, this IT provider, will distribute you on a big way. I can take the example of APG. We have a product of interline ticketing. This product of interline ticketing, any airline can be part of this product. And then we connect this product to our APG platform, which is available worldwide. So I think you have to find this kind of way to connect with a partner, an aggregator, who will be able to distribute you with NDC content, but without having NDC. I don't know if I am clear.
Yeah, thank you, Eloise. I think that is clear for now. And Udeme, I would welcome you if you would wish to further engage. I see Udeme there, you comment, yes, this is clear. If you wish to further engage on further clarification or further understanding on this step-by-step process, please feel free to contact us. We can link you up with our colleagues at APG for subsequent discussions. We have another question. Eloise, you talked about the advantages for the airline, one of them being cost efficiency because you're avoiding the surcharge from the GDS. Miriam Tazi from Royal Air Maroc asks, why avoiding surcharge for GDS is an advantage for an airline?
If the airlines can pay a fee to the GDS, so of course I think you want to avoid this fee from the GDS. So the GDS is costly for the airline. And that's why more and more the airlines who are part of NDC, who have already developed this technology, are adding a GDS surcharge to compensate the fee they are paying to the GDS. For example, we have Air France. Air France, they have an NDC product, very developed, with plenty of possibilities. When you are issuing a ticket in GDS with Air France is paying something like 10-15 euros to the GDS per segment. So they, to avoid to pay this fee, they add a GDS surcharge to the ticket issued in GDS, and the travel agency using GDS will have to pay for this GDS surcharge. So an airline is paying a fee to the GDS, the classic GDS with EDIFACT technology. Yes, they are paying this fee. So of course, it's an advantage of not paying this fee.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Remy Abdelmonem. You ask if we could send the presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, just to inform you that the slides that are shared today on the screen will be shared to each and everyone who participated or registered. And also we shall post the recording on the AFRA YouTube channel so that after the webinar, you can always go back to listen to the recording. We still have some more questions. Hamza Mohammed, I have two questions from Hamza. What is the cost of installing in relation to the traditional GDS? By using NDC, can airlines push all sales through IATA and non-IATA agencies? I'm not too sure you've understood that question well. So, and then Hamza also asks if NDC is not relevant to airlines, why airlines need to opt in? So you can take those two from Hamza.
Okay. So if I'm not sure to have well understand the first one, that if you are using GDS, of course you will go with IATA travel agencies. So with all the complexity to be IATA for a travel agency, not more and more we have travel agencies who are not IATA anymore. If you are using not the traditional GDS, but NDC aggregators, Travel Fusion, for example. Travel Fusion, they can work with a lot of travel agencies directly. It means the travel agency, the sub-travel agency, will pay Travel Fusion directly by credit card, for example, for all the sales done. And then Travel Fusion will pay the airline directly. Same, it could be by credit card or not. Will pay the airline for all the sales done. We are not going through the BSP and we are not going through IATA. We are totally out of the classic model we are using actually with the GDS EDIFACT. So it's another way of distribution. You are connecting an aggregator and the aggregator connects the travel agency. So it's not, we are not with the BSP, we can work without BSP, without IATA with this product. And the second question was about, sorry, I forgot it.
The second question, let me get that, was if NDC is not relevant to airlines, why airlines need to opt in?
Yes, so if it is not relevant, if, as I said before, if you have 3 aircrafts in your company, it will, and NDC development, it's 100,000 euros investment or million euros investment is too much. It will not be relevant. But if you want to be distributed correctly, you will need to find an aggregator who will distribute you worldwide. If you don't go into NDC at all, without, but not by yourself and without an aggregator, you will stay with the GDS artifact. But now we have some travel agency who are not using anymore the GDS, traditional GDS. They will use only aggregators. So if you stay in GDS, you have the travel agency who will stop using GDS more and more. So we are not here now, but we will be there at a point. And it will be distributed in a tool which will be less used. And finally, your sales will decrease. And it will be more and more difficult to fill your aircraft. So it's important, we are in a transition phase. It's important to stay in GDS, but also to work with an aggregator, to be distributed with NDC content. Despite the fact you are not NDC, it will be NDC content provided by the aggregator. The aggregator have also to be NDC compliant to distribute the content. You know, we will take your content with your technology, with XML technology. It could be non-NDC. We will translate. The aggregator will translate the content in an NDC content, and will distribute this content to travel agencies.
Okay, thank you, Eloise. I hope that answers Hamza adequately. We have another question from Nasreddin Shebelen from MedSky Airways. I see the question on the chat box and your hand raised. So the question is, approximately how long does it take to implement NDC? Do you wish to make any audio question? Nasreddin, you can have the floor. I see your hand is also raised.
But I can start replying to the question. It is the same question when I said it's very difficult to give an approximate cost about NDC implementation, because in fact it depends also where you are with the technology and where you want to go. It could take 6 months, it could take 3 years. And I think it will be very interesting to have this the feedback from Ethiopian Airlines and Kenya Airways about the process of implementation for them, how long it took for these 2 airlines to implement NDC.
Mm-hmm.
Because the response is really depending of where you are and where you want to go. If you want to put all your after-sales operation, for example, in your API as NDC content, if you want any, give the possibility to issue tickets. It's very different.
Okay. Yeah, definitely we'll get to learn a bit more from the use cases that we'll get from KQ and from ET. I see you have got so many questions. We'll want to ensure we are all on the same page before we proceed to the next presentation, which is implementation of NDC step by step. So it will be more of delving in most of the questions that are being asked to get a clear understanding. The next question I see is from Udemy, who from Ibom Air, who requests if you could repeat the response to Hamza's question. So the comment from Udemy is, your response to Hamza's question about pushing all sales to either IATA or non-IATA agencies is a bit unclear. Are you able to repeat that, please?
Yes. If you are working, you have your NDC content, you have your API, you did all the developments. Then you are working with an aggregator. This aggregator will connect travel agencies. These travel agencies could be IATA or non-IATA, but you will not work directly with non-IATA travel agencies. It will be through the aggregator. For example, you have your NDC content, you have your API. You connect to Duffel. No, it's not a good example. You connect to APG platform, for example. So we have this connectivity together. and us, APG, we will work with travel agencies worldwide. And the travel agency can be IATA or non-IATA. But in fact, you have the relationship with APG, not with the sub-agencies, which is a non-IATA. It will be with us. So we cover the risk for you, and we take the responsibility to avoid the default from the travel agency, but it is our responsibility, not yours. So you connect non-IATA travel agencies through the aggregator.
Ideme, I hope that is more clear now. Okay. Then from Desta Getane, he asks, can the APG platform share the same API with Travel Fusion, Dufel, Travel Sky, Air Gateway, etc.? Or does it require a specific API?
No, once you have your API, you can connect all the aggregators. You have your API, you give your API to the aggregators you want to connect, Travel Fusion, Dufel, APG platform, and we are taking the job, we are doing the implementation with your API, but it is the same. You have only one API, and you give this API to all the aggregators you want to connect. Do we have additional questions?
Apologies, I was on mute. We have another question from Muhsina Mohammed. And the question is, how can NDC be customized to fit the unique needs of different airlines, particularly those with legacy systems?
I mean, as the airline is creating their API, and then in the API there is no customization. It's only codes, lines of codes. Then you provide this to the distributors, and the distributor can use it. It's very easy after that to have something, to have rich content, to use pictures, you can add some pictures, into your API, for example, and then the aggregators can use it to highlight the product. But the API, there is one API per airline, and the airline is giving the API to the aggregators. But there will be no share. Travel Fusion will not share its own API to Dufel or to other aggregators. The aggregators are receiving the API from the airlines, and they can create their own API to distribute the content also. But they will not share it together. But once you have an API, the airline or the aggregator or travel agency, it could be distributed to any other IT provider, IT system, and the IT system will be able to use it.
Thank you.
Did I reply to the question?
Yes, I hope that was clear enough for Mohammed. So what I'll suggest, because some of the questions that are coming in are very much going to be shared upon with the next presentations, the one on NDC implementation step by step, and also the airline use case, that we allow the presenters to make the presentations, and then we'll address the questions as we move on in the interest of time. If that is okay, then Eloise?
Yes,
you
perfect.
can take us to the next section, which is NDC implementation step by step.
Okay. So here the idea is to give you the steps to follow to implement NDC. So the first point is to create your commercial strategy. So it's very important before to create your API and to go into this model to understand how it works and to understand how it will be efficient for you. So you need to check which content you want to sell with this technology and to put in front of that the cost to implement, to add each information. So with NDC, it is possible to split the offer by marketing and highlighting separately each item. So into your API, when you will create it, you have the possibility to add the abilities, the seats, the baggage, all the services available on board. It could be the meals, the in-flight entertainment, it could be wharf access, it could be very different things. And all the ground services, priority boarding, fast track, assistance, lounge access. And you can have a lot of different things into your API. So you need to think about that and to check what you want to, how you want to use this technology, why you want to go there, and what do you want to highlight with this technology. It could be because you want to have to use dynamic pricing. You don't want anymore to have this segmentation to the 26 letters of the alphabet. You want to use dynamic pricing to have an algorithm behind your fares to choose to change the price depending on the loading of the aircraft, depending on the season, depending on how long we are before departure, etc., etc. So you can create something very complex about the fare strategy. How do you want to promote it? With NDC, you have the possibility to use rich content. So it could be video, image, and sound. So it's the same. If you want to highlight, I don't know, maybe you have a premium economy class and you want to increase the loading of your premium economy class, sorry. So it's important for you to highlight with images this cabin class. It could be very different, but if you want to highlight something in your presentation of NDC product, in your sales, it's possible. You need to also think about who will distribute your NDC content. So it could be online travel agencies. And if you want to distribute your content to online travel agencies, you have two choices. You can go directly to the online travel agencies with Expedia, for example, or you can go through aggregators. So if you distribute your content to Travel Fusion will work with a lot of online travel agencies. So it is your choice to go directly with the OTAs or to go through an aggregator. Each implementation takes time. It has a cost, not so much, but it has a cost. So it's a choice to do. So you can work with the aggregators and you can work directly with the travel agency. So if in your client, you have a huge network of travel agencies, I don't know, anyone, you can also connect your content directly to these travel agencies. And you will have to sign new agreements with the actors. So for the moment, you are working with GDS, so you have an agreement with Amadeus, and Amadeus is working with the travel agencies. Here, you will have to sign agreements directly with your distributors. So the second steps, once you have your sales strategy, when you know where you want to go and how to do it, you need to build your API. So API is application programming interface. So you built it with the IT providers. So I put a few names, but you have around 30 IT providers. These IT providers will create it and will connect the API to the airline PSS. You can choose to work with an IT provider, or you can also have a team into your airline to develop internally the API. You have the choice. And once you have, when you are creating your API, you need to think about what to add into your API. The booking process, of course, the assurance, the after-sales operations, the ancillary services, the baggages. Do you want to add also negotiated fares? I mean, tour operator fares, corporate fares, cement fares, etc. So depending on your activity, on who are your clients, what is important in your strategy to increase the sales, you will choose what you want to have into your API. And more you have content into your API, more the sales will be important with NDC. We can see on our side in APG, some airlines have only added a few things. They only give the possibility to issue tickets with their API. This is the only things we can do. And in fact, the sales are not so big because it is not interesting for a travel agency to use this airline with NDC when they can only issue tickets versus using GDS, EDIFACT, where they can change the ticket, void, reissue. So it's part of the strategy you have. You have to define your price strategy. So to use dynamic pricing or not. You can make fare differentiation versus GDS EDIFACT. So for example, some airlines are removing some AirBDs or fare families from the GDS EDIFACT, and they put this content only in their NDC product. It gives some attractivity to their NDC product, and the sales, of course, will be pushed to NDC versus GDS EDIFACT. And you can offer availability, difference of availability in GDS EDIFACT and NDC content. We have also some carriers who are removing some routes, domestic flights, things like that from the GDS EDIFACT. It gives some attractivity to the content, NDC content. So when you have your API, your IT provider has to give you an API documentation. It has to be part of the development. So you ask to an IT provider, or you are building into your company your API, you have to provide an API documentation. It is very important because without this documentation, the aggregator will have a lot of difficulties to connect to your content. So I put in just a few examples of, some airlines have this information published into their website. So you can just check how it looks like and what the aggregators need to implement an airline, to implement the API of an airline. So I put in the example with British Airways, and we have also, and we have also the example of Finnair. These two airlines are publishing their API documentation on their website. So it gives an idea, and I can tell you, we have implemented some airlines without documentation. It takes years to implement this airline. So it is very important to have this documentation. So here you can click and check what is it. In fact, it is codes, lines of codes. But the IT guys working with that, with codes. So after that, you have your API, you did your sales strategy, you have your API, you have the API documentation, then you will have to connect distributors. So into the distributors, we have the aggregators and the GDS. We know Amadeus, Travelport, Sabre have also built their NDC products, so you can connect with Amadeus 6, for example, with your API. And you can also connect to other aggregators, Travel Fusion, Duffel, Vertel, a lot of other aggregators. And you can connect directly to the travel agencies. It could have a cost, an airline integration for a distributor, for an aggregator. When we take the API from an airline, it costs us between 50 to 100,000 euros. So it is a big cost. Some aggregators are doing it for free, and others are asking to the airline to pay for this integration. So I don't know how each one is working, but for example, you want to work with Travel Fusion, you will go to Travel Fusion, you provide your API to Travel Fusion, and Travel Fusion can reply to you, okay, to integrate your content, I'm requesting 60,000 euros. I don't know, it's an example, but I don't know how each one is working, but the aggregator can request a fee to the airline to pay a fee. And after that, it takes 2 to 6 months in average to integrate an airline. So same, you are going to Travel Fusion, you ask them to integrate your content. It will take some time to integrate the API. First step, our travel agency can access to the airline NDC content. So the travel agency can access to your content by using an API connection. So they connect, you provide your API to the travel agency. The travel agency takes the API and integrates your content. They can go to an aggregator. So an IATA travel agency will use an aggregator with an API connection. So if we have an online travel agency, for example, online travel agencies will use aggregators or API from the airline. The API from the airline or the API from the aggregator. We have also some travel agencies we can use like a portal, a classic B2B portal with a login and a password. They connect to an aggregator and they can issue tickets. The travel agency will pay the airline directly if they are connected directly to your content. So they will pay you if you have the direct connection. It could be through the BSP if the travel agency is IATA, or by any other form of payment. The travel agencies you will connect or the aggregators you will connect can pay you with a credit card, with a banking transfer, with any form of payment you want. And the travel agency can also pay the airlines through the aggregators. So the travel agency is paying Duffel and Duffel is paying the airline. But in this case, it is not your risk. The risk is taken by the aggregator. So this part is over. And now I can reply to the questions about the implementation step by step.
Thank you very much, Eloise, for taking us through the 4 main steps on NDC implementation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are open for any questions you may have on the NDC implementation step by step. Before now, we go to the airline use case by Kenya Airways and Ethiopian Airlines. The floor is open. And as we wait to take in more questions, Eloise, we can respond to the few that were put on ice before you made this presentation. There's one from Mohan Das, Newcore. He asks, how many airlines are integrated into APG NDC platform now?
We have
Do you-
31 carriers.
81, okay.
Yes.
And do you provide unified API which can be consumed by an online travel agent? If
Yes.
so,
Oh,
it's yes.
sorry.
Okay. If so, which version of NDC schema are you using? You are providing? Is it 21.3?
Yes, that's it. So yes, we can provide an API. We are providing an API to the online travel agencies, and the version is the 21.3.
Okay, thank you. And then another one again from Reolia Maroc, Miriam Tazi. Who is responsible to create the API documentation? Is it the NDC provider responsibility?
Yes, it is the IT provider. So if you choose TP Connect, it has to be part of the deal, of the contract you have with them to provide at the end an API documentation.
Okay. Thank you, Desta, for your comment about the implementation process being very clear.
Thank you.
And another one from Emmanuel Biringiro, who asks, does NDC take into account bookings done with interline partners and code share bookings?
It is part of the choice you are doing. If you want to add into your API all your code share agreements, you can. Some airlines are adding, I take the example of American Airlines, they provide the content with their operating flights, but also with some of their code share agreements, but not all of them. So it is part of your strategy. If you want to put only your flights or also your interline agreements or code share.
Well said. Again, from Mohan Das of Newcore, the question is, travel agencies are used to GDS systems and also their back office systems are developed based on Edifact-based handouts. When we introduce NDC to TMCs, what are possible challenges we may encounter? That is, what are the last mile challenges of NDC adoption for airlines?
Yes, it's a good question. In fact, when you create your API, you have to choose if you want to add the after-sales operation, so all the back office operation into your API. So if you give the possibility to the aggregator to change a ticket, to split a PNR, to make this kind of operation. But when you will choose your aggregators, I think it is also very important to check if the aggregator has opened this possibility for the sub-agencies. In fact, if you put the after-sales operation into your API, you connect to an aggregator, but the aggregator is not providing a back office to the sub-travel agencies, there will be a limitation. And when the sub-agencies will need to make this kind of change, they will contact you, but by phone. So it's not very easy to manage. So when you choose the aggregator, you have also, if it is in your strategy, to add the back office operations, to give this possibility to the sellers, it is very important to check if the aggregator you are choosing provide a back office to the sub-agencies, because some are not doing it. They are just, and that's why, in general, when you are checking the online travel agencies, some of them are not managing the after-sales operation. So they are working with aggregators who are not providing after-sales operation because they don't need it, they don't want it. It's part of your decision or the aggregator's decision.
Okay, thank you. And from Miriam Tazi, Rolia Maroc, again, on APG platform, how NDC sales are reported and what are the form of payment supported?
So with APG platform, we are very open to what the airlines want to do. We can pay the airlines by credit card. We can pay the airlines through the BSP. For APG platform, we have created a travel agency, APG Travel, which is a French travel agency, go standard. So we can pay the airline through the BSP or by credit card, but with a direct debit on the credit card. Or it could be by banking transfer with a financial guarantee. It is a choice of the airline. We don't take this decision. And then we can provide a report each week, each month, depending on what you want. We can provide a report with the sales and with the sales per country or per sub-travel agencies if you want it. It's not, we are not doing it by default, but if you want to see where the sales are coming from, it's possible to provide such reports.
Thank you. And I see from Africa Airways, Mr. Almoiz Ben Ismail, your hand is raised up. Would you wish to ask your question verbally?
No. Hello, I hope you hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening. It's a pleasure now to follow you. And the same question has been mentioned when I was just reading the message of Royal Air Maroc. I think I get the answer now. It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm following you now. It's good.
Thank you for your participation.
Please, with pleasure.
Thank you. So we'll take another question before now we go to a different field of the webinar where we are going to hear from airlines who have gone through the process. Desta asks a general question. Are aggregators like APG capable of marrying PNRs to create a single itinerary for passengers who purchase tickets from more than one airline operator? How would baggage transfer be handled in this case?
No, we are not doing a virtual interlining. So we are not offering this possibility. It's part of our strategy. We don't want, we know it's very complicating when the passenger has two tickets issued with two different carriers. Sometimes they don't know, they have two different tickets. And we have this problem with the baggages in the airport. So to avoid this kind of problem, and we want to provide a product very clear and honest. You know, we don't want to make them able to think they have one ticket when they have two separated tickets. So no, we have not given this this possibility. It's not possible to combine two different carriers on the same reference.
Okay. So I think at this juncture, we'll proceed to the next part of the webinar, which is the airline use cases. So Eloise, you can stop your screen share, then I can share on my end.
Thank you.
Right. So we shall have short presentations with Kenya Airways and Ethiopian Airlines NDC program managers who will inform us of their experience, and specifically they'll give us insights on what did it take for them to implement NDC, why there are any challenges, and is NDC relevant or not? Based on what we've heard from Eloise, there is a cost implication. There are benefits, of course, while at the same time, there are also some hurdles along the way to implement NDC. And the purpose of us using airline use cases is to learn from others, one another, and to make the experience more easier. I'll quote Albert Einstein, learning is an experience. Everything else is just information. And the information that counts, I'll add, is the information that is put into action. We'll start with Kenya Airways use case. This shall be done by Ms. Doreen Maiteri, NDC Program Manager. And Doreen, you can take the floor from here. I'll move the slides for you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you all for having me. My name is Doreen Maiteri. So I have been in this NDC docket for approximately 2 years. I've been in the airline industry for quite a while. This is my 20th year in different capacities, and especially within the commercial area. So I understand from everyone that NDC can be a bit much to absorb from the airline perspective. I remember it took us quite a bit of time to understand what it is all about. And we have gotten a lot of support from the industry. And this is a very good platform for us to just break it down in the way we have understood it in the last 2 years or so. I'd like to give a caveat that it is a perspective from Kenya Airways and where we began. However, there are some things that may be different for different airlines. So this is what Kenya Airways has done so far. So I don't know whether that is the first slide you have taken up, Maureen? Or...
Yes, that's the first slide coming after this one.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Okay, okay. Sorry. Let me just, I see this is slightly different. Maureen, could I just take, I had put together, I thought I had shared the, is it possible for me to share?
Yes, please stop from this end and then you can share. Please share your screen.
Okay. Sorry about that. I hope you can see my screen. Let me just make it full.
Yes, we can.
Slideshow. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So so there were a few questions that Maureen had shared with me to be able to direct this presentation. What I'd like to say is that NDC is slowly being transformed to modern airline retailing because we are focused, we've been calling it new distribution capability for quite a while. Yes, it's a new distribution capability, but the end game is that we have a modern way of airline retailing, which is moving from what has been very traditional, that the airlines have taken so much time to adjust to, because retailing is changing. And that's what NDC was to help influence the modern airline retailing journey for airlines. So some of the questions that were asked, and I would like to say at this point, we started the journey in 2021. So it was during the COVID time as Kenya Airways. We went live with NDC in June 2022. And there were a couple of lessons that we learned in the process, and that is what we would want to share with you. One of the things that is a big influence to implementation of NDC is leadership buy-in. And what does that mean? It just means that you need to have, from the top level of your organizations or your airlines, to know what NDC is and why it would make a difference for the airline, because it shouldn't just be about implementing new technology. It should be about what are the benefits for the airline when you have this new distribution capability. So some of the things that we had to do as Kenya Airways was to, one, put together a business case that I think Eloise has mentioned, that clearly states what is your strategy as a commercial organization. What is your strategy? What do you want NDC to influence for you as an airline? And we quickly learned, other than the fact that it is about distributing differently, there is also the aspect of payment. So you also have to have a payment strategy. One of the lessons that we have learned with distribution is if you just talk about distribution on its own, there is a big piece that you have to also have, which is the payment strategy in line with distribution. So how are you going to get the money that you are, and I've seen a couple of questions around that. How will the money come to us as the airline? So it has to be very clear from that aspect. I can distribute my content and I also can collect payments easily and in a way that the customer, who in this point is your end customer and even your travel agents, would appreciate. Another thing that what it would take is, as I've mentioned, the industry is important. Industry collaboration, we have IATA, we have now this kind of forum. You also need to talk to travel agent associations, bring the buy-in also, because the biggest influence, and I'm getting that question has come up from various people, is that the travel agencies also need to feel that there is something in for them. It is not about just the airline, but it's also good for them. You also need to be able, if you're going into this implementation, to provide training awareness, because it is new. It is new for everybody in the industry. For some who started way before we did, they have done a lot of knowledge share. And it's very important that that is part and parcel, not just in the beginning of the journey, through the entire journey of NDC. When you look at what else it takes, when you're looking at technology and infrastructure, you need to develop APIs. There are different ways that it can be done. Heloise has mentioned this is a big portion of your decision. For Kenya Airways, we looked at that aspect, and I can sense the feeling about developing APIs, managing APIs, maintaining them is a big question mark for most, because that is where the big cost is. For Kenya Airways, we went with a technology partner, so an NDC technology partner who is maintaining and has developed these APIs, and more to that, in case of upgrades, because we mentioned a lot is changing still with NDC, improvements every so often. We're talking about different versions there have been. Kenya Airways is in version 18.1, and we are working towards moving to 21.3. So you work with this technology partner to ensure that they are keeping in tandem with the industry and the improvements that are happening. If you decide to take this on as the airline, you can still do it. I wouldn't want to say that that is not possible, but yes, it will require a lot of your resources. It will require a lot of your time in terms of keeping up and updating. And when you update this technology, you also have to influence anyone who has connected to this technology. So when you update it, anyone who is connected, and we've talked about the aggregators, also have to update on their side in how they're receiving this technology from you. So that is the chain. It always goes in that way. So you work with the technology provider, you work with your distributors now who will become the aggregators, or if you are working with your own airline agency portal, you always have to update them if the new technology comes on board. So that's the aspect of time and resources that will be required. So if you are also developing these APIs, you will require to have someone developing them, influencing them to the various areas. So for us, there's a step that we have jumped where we do not have the developers here, but we work with a technology provider who does the same for us. So, and then also there's the next process when it comes to technology, where you are also distributing to your own content, these APIs, to other players. And these other players can be the travel agents themselves, it can be aggregators, it can be players like APG who will distribute whatever you have provided to them as the airline to the different travel agents and sellers that they may have. Another thing that it would take is you have to have customer focus. And that's why I was mentioning that NDC has improvements that the GDS technology has also been trying to improve from. And some of those aspects are, how do I make my content better for the customer? How does this customer receive this content that they feel that we have personally reached out to them as the airline? So one of the key focus areas is personalization, where we are talking, what NDC is enabled to do is that it can identify a specific customer type and influence, say, a specific fare to that kind of customer. So some of those things are made possible because of the technology improvement. Also within NDC, we realize that when it comes to products, you are able to sell more of your ancillaries, because now it doesn't mean there's a lot of integration that is required, because if I am giving you this content, you are able to sell it. I don't have in between hurdles to enhance the offering that I am giving as the airline. So if I want to distribute seats, I make seats available for ancillaries to be sold. If I want baggage as the airline, I just make it available. And the seller can be able to access all this content directly from the airline. Yes, there could be some financial investment in the process. Louise has talked about some technology providers may influence implementation fees that we take cognizance of, or also if you decide to do your own API management, you will need to get the resources to be able to do this. And also if you are going in the other way where you have a technology provider, definitely there are contracts that you will need to sign up for you to be able to access this content or work with this technology provider. So the best thing, as we always do in the airline side, you just have to look at the cost versus the benefit that you would receive, because it's a long-term investment. It shouldn't, over time, you will notice that the costs that have influenced your decision will be quickly reduced, because now distribution may be much cheaper depending on the contractual agreements you will have with the distributors you're working with. Operational challenges, I mentioned, it is a continuous process. Operational changes, basically, it's a continuous process of development, training, retraining, and support, because it is new. You've mentioned the TMCs and them being able to, and I'm getting to the challenges already, them being able to already ask questions on the back office processes that they have been used to for various years, and trying to change that or influence their change in that regard. It will take some time. There are changes that are happening, but once an agent is able to break through that, there's a lot of benefit that they will have through NDC. And also some process improvements in terms of documentation, how you onboard agents, how you grow your seller base. A lot of those changes are different. It's going to be different, but once they're in, you're able to do a lot more with these partners that have come on board to access your content. And then lastly, what would it take? Definitely change management. And this change management aspect is a lot internal before it becomes external. Though I have mentioned that you need to collaborate a lot with the external environment, internally, there are a lot of changes that will be taking place. One, NDC is for travel agents, who are always referred to as indirect channel, but within NDC, they become direct. So when you're coming up with strategies, your strategies have to also have in mind that NDC should be part and parcel. So for example, if you always have an offer on the .com environment and your own offices, how you can expand that to NDC is also something that makes your different stakeholders have to think differently. So being able to get your revenue management team, your sales organization, your finance, revenue accounting areas, credit control areas, all those internal players in the journey of sales need to understand what NDC is and how it influences the different areas. Your pricing team, more specifically, your inventory and availability management teams, they all have to understand the part they play when it comes to NDC. And so since we are what I think Eloise has mentioned, content preference, when you're talking about content preference and being able to push up a platform or an environment or a distribution channel that for you as the airline, you're seeing will in the long run be a cost-saving initiative. You need to be able to tailor make within your strategy the best case scenario to work with your travel agents who are now accessing your content directly. So some of those changes in how you are used to doing your business have to be considered. So what challenges? I'll try and go through the challenges quickly because they have already been spoken about. The industry, and I would think a lot more in Africa, the industry has taken quite some time to adapt to it, but who is going to influence the change? I guess it is ourselves. If you do not start, the change will not be become the norm. So as KQ, we can say, yes, there have been a lot of challenges with the adoption because agents are also struggling to understand NDC. And then someone has mentioned there are already influences from the GDSs that are currently in place, that those complexities are there, and also complexity of integrating to our current platform. So that collaboration between GDSs and NDC within the airlines, providing the same level of content that the GDSs have within NDC, that's also a challenge because NDC is still developing, and you will find some aspects that have been developed for the GDS are still probably not present in NDC, but it doesn't mean they're not part of the roadmap. We have customer and partner resistance, where we are talking about just the change within and externally. I've talked about that, and also the conflict between the GDS. The GDS is also coming on board to support NDC. We also have technology. We've mentioned there are legacy systems that we have that, for example, our PSS should be able to read all this NDC content without any challenges. So influencing that integration also could take some time. If you have legacy systems, we have API management, where we're talking about if you are managing your own APIs and you're in charge of the development, the upgrades, that could be a challenge. And ensuring we have talked of GDPR, data is now much more available with NDC. So being able to harness the right data and ensuring that you maintain privacy. So that can also be an aspect that you need to consider. We've talked about cost and resource allocation. We are talking about the initial investment could be high. The airlines have the ability to negotiate with various technology providers, and that for your own content. for them to be able to distribute. So that is available for you to do. But it may be high if you have to do a lot of implementation fees to implement NDC. Ongoing maintenance, that is also there. There's a cost that you need to think about, and also for, in some cases, implementation fees. So market fragmentation is also another challenge, because you'll find some markets within Africa are way ahead in NDC and others are just beginning. So because of that, you will not probably be able to influence everywhere, but you will, the patience to maybe go market by market to influence the change would be a good approach to use. And especially where already there is some traction. I would say for ourselves, we have a lot of influence in certain markets more than others, and a lot of education that we need to do to bring a lot of the markets that we have to the same level. So just managing that and being able to take everybody in step so that they can understand the new technology. And then when it comes to NDC, the different platforms, so you've heard of the aggregators, there are various across the board. You've heard of the agency portals, there are various of them, different types of them. The whole idea is it's a different user experience depending on who you're working with. And that may not be very easy for the agents to adapt to the change. So because it's very inconsistent, it is a bit difficult to adopt to the change, because they're wondering, why doesn't it look like what I normally use, say, on the GDS? So that change process is also something that needs to be managed. So regulatory and compliance issues. So in some markets, and I know we have experienced that you could have in different markets that because of lack of understanding, you may have regulatory issues. So sometimes it is, and I believe it is important to work with the travel agent associations in different countries when you're trying to influence such a change, so that they are also behind you and can rally you in the change process in the different countries. And then also sometimes you will find, because IATA has set the standards, and actually the whole framework of NDC, some may influence those standards and make some changes. So they make some bespoke kind of influences to the standards. And so when you're trying to, move from one standard to the next, like to a partner who is maintaining standards, you may have challenges in integrating the system. So you'll find that there are some players who change the APIs, and that can influence, can give you some challenges in terms of integrating or connecting to certain partners. So as much as possible, when you're working with any partner or technology provider, advise them to maintain the IATA standards. And then definitely there's a lot of competitive dynamics that come on board, where you have to balance direct and indirect sales, the pressure from competitors who probably have not implemented things like GDS, such as was mentioned, and you have implemented. So all those dynamics come into play, and especially when it comes to the early adopters who have gone ahead. So the question on whether NDC is relevant is a very good question. It's relevant, and when you're looking at it, you have to look at it as from all the players in the market. We talk about, it has to be relevant for the airline, it has to be relevant for the agent, it has to be relevant also for the customer. And for the airline, what are you looking at? You're looking at control of your product distribution. It is you who is curating a product to be able to distribute to anyone who is selling. So that is is great for the airline. It is relevant for you to be able to be on the driver's seat all the time. You can be able to create offers. Halois has talked about rich content and branding. The platforms are, because of XML, are lighter and enabled to do much more than we're currently doing. We can also, I talked about personalized shopping. There are additional revenue opportunities that are there. Have the ability to distribute even your ancillary items across. You have more opportunities to do that because the platform is standard. And then there is the cost saving potential, where we're depending on the agreements that you have. When you're connecting to various partners, you're able to negotiate for lower terms. What NDC has enabled is that there are more players in the field, so there is more competition. What does that mean? For distribution, that means that the cost of distribution can also go down because you're negotiating to distribute your content through various players, and not just the big three or the big four. For an agent, when you're looking at is it relevant for the agent, yes, because they're now more able to offer a better product to the customer that they're selling to. It reduces the gap between what direct airline environments have, like the .coms and the GDS. So you are now getting closer to having the same level of content. The influence of just price is not the only thing that they see, but compared to how other sellers, we're talking of the Amazons, you can compare pricing and you can compare what that fare has in comparison to other fares. So there's more than just looking at price. You can also look at products and services against that fare, and you're able to pick. So just the same way on most .coms, you can be able to see this fare has 1 to 3 things, this one has up to 7 additional products. So just making it easy for the agent to be able to do comparison pricing, for example. And then also because this is a direct channel per se, when an airline goes out with promotions or new products, this is quickly, it's a switch on process for NDC to receive. So for the agent, it doesn't take long additional filing to be able to access, for example, promotions or private fares. And also when it comes to the airline and introducing new products, it's also readily available for the travel agent. When it comes to the customer, we think about the customer for sure, that it's transparent shopping for them, that it's not just, this is the price, take it or leave it. They can ask questions, what does it have, what doesn't it have? And the agent can quickly respond because the platforms are much more friendly. You can get personalized shopping, as I had mentioned. It's very transparent. I can show you photos. I can exactly give you what this fare brand has. And as I mentioned, they can see additional products that the airline is offering to them. So yes, I would say NDC is relevant for all the players. For the airline, definitely NDC is relevant for the airline. Then for the next maybe 2 minutes, I'll just explain how Kenya Airways has enabled NDC. As I mentioned, we are on version 18.1 and working towards moving to 21.3. Why would we want to move to 21.3? There are a couple of additional features that our agents have been asking for that are available in 21.3 and not in 18.1. So this is the reason why we want to move. Because we always look at the end of the day, the customer gets the benefit and the agents are able to sell more through NDC. KQ has 3 ways that you can connect to NDC. One, we have an agent portal, where in the agent portal, it only has KQ content. So you sign up and are able to access KQ content through this platform. And what does KQ content mean? It is KQ flights, KQ code share flights, and some interline flights that we have an agreement on. The second bit is we have the ability to directly connect to agents. So our API content directly to agents or any influence. It can be big sellers, we can do the same. So we have direct API connect, and also this is for KQ content only. And then we have also the ability to connect through aggregators. I would say we have one aggregator that we have implemented, and that is Vertel Technologies. And we also are in the process of implementing with one GDS, Amadeus. How does this API connect? One of the things that has worked also for us that I'd want to mention, when you're accessing KQ content, in terms of payment, remember I've said distribution and payment go together. So we are able to distribute this, and payment is our preferred payment link is through IATA Financial Gateway. And so we work with IATA Financial Gateway and we're able to connect to additional forms of payment. Another thing about implementation, I would say, one of the things that really helped us in this journey is to work with a good partner. And the reason why this is important, you need to work with a good partner. For us, we didn't necessarily work with a big partner, but a partner who was able to walk us through the journey. And a lot of the lessons that we have learned in the journey is based on working with a partner who is, one, very patient, accommodating, and able to walk you through understanding the difference between where you're coming from and where you intend to go. So with that, it makes it easy. It makes it easy because this is very new for the airline. So you need to work with a partner who is very patient and not just implementing a solution. So what is available in KQ NDC content and what is live right now? So when it comes to shopping, we have the ability, yes?
I might interrupt in the interest of time. Maybe you could hasten.
This is the last slide.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay, so what is available? You can shop for one-way return and open your flights. We have within our platforms the ability to do a calendar search, multi-city shopping. We've talked about interline flights. We intend to grow these, putting in private fares, nego fares, or promo fares is possible within the platform, and also agent commission handling is also possible within our NDC. When it comes to payment, you can do instant payments or pay later. In cases where there are countries with dual currencies, that is also made available in the platform. We've talked about different forms of payment. We are talking about BSP cash through IATA. We have what we work with our non-IATA agents, a bilateral credit limit, where they load a credit with us and have a drawdown mechanism. All this is provided by IATA Financial Gateway. We have IATA EasyPay also enabled. We have credit card enabled also as forms of payment. For the agent, they can also collect their fees and markup from the platforms. When it comes to ancillaries, we have rich content within the platform. You can have modern images of your aircraft and all. In terms of chargeable services, you can purchase bags, you can purchase seats, you can book a seat, even if it is not chargeable, through the seat map and some sports equipment. And when it comes to servicing, and Heloise has mentioned this, being able to give the agents freedom to service is also enabled, where we have the agent can retrieve a PNR, modify flights, do reissuance and refunds. do they get agent notifications in case of involuntary changes? Their ticketing time limitation, notifications that they get, they're able also to split bookings and do the whole process of reissuance. This has been a step-by-step process to get to this point. And every day we are learning and continue to enjoy the journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doreen, for sharing with us the KQ NDC story. We've seen some questions coming in. So I'll give a couple of questions from the floor so that you can respond to this, and then we take the next airline use case. I have the first one from Ibom Air. Udeme asks, in terms of training, because you mentioned something to do with it's part of the process. What knowledge or trainings do you suggest as necessary for the airline before going ahead with the NDC implementation process?
For the airline?
Yes, what trainings do you recommend?
Yeah. Okay, so it is not specific trainings. Okay, what would be important is that the people who work with your travel agents need to understand travel agent lingo, should I say. So in terms of what they currently get from the GDS, to be able to explain to the agents, for example, what is changing with NDC. I would not say there is any specific training. However, from an industry perspective, I know right now IATA is coming up with a training program for the airlines to be able to understand NDC better and how to approach NDC. So there's nothing specific out there that I would say is a go, but I know and being part of that journey for IATA to put together a training program, we have been able to contribute to that, and part of it is just how to influence what the airlines currently know and how NDC is changing that. So nothing specific at the moment, but there's some programs being developed to assist the airlines, yeah.
Okay, and then a question from Mohan Das. Do you support multiple FOP in your NDC API? If not, are you planning to bring this feature in the near future?
Multiple FOP? I think, okay, from the presentation I've at least mentioned that we have multiple FOPs. I don't know whether your question is in line with being able to make payments. You can do credit card and then partially, I don't know whether that's what you mean, but if that's what you mean? No, yeah. Okay, so no, it's not possible right now to do partial payments, but for whatever form of payment, at the point when you want, whatever charge is there, maybe it's a reissuance, yes, you can change to credit card, even if you had paid through BSP previously, but not partial payment.
Not partial, it's a full payment, but it will be through, let's say I have two cards. My
Yes.
passenger came and he don't have the full amount in one card. So he's giving me two cards. Right now in GDS, I can give the two cards in the form of payment. So will your NDC support similar business scenarios?
Oh, right now, we've just implemented credit card this month. So that's a question I can ask if that is possible, but right now we have not discussed two different cards in the payment.
Okay.
Actually, thanks for that. I will ask.
Yeah, if you can take it in future, because this is normally happening in the industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
We have a hand raised. This the last question. I have someone from Vidisha, I think from APG Vidisha. You have your hand raised. I think it's Rogers Aviation. Vidisha Ketur, you can ask your question. Okay, sorry, it's by error. So we will thank you, Doreen, very much for giving us your Kenya Airways insights. It helps a lot in the learning process. And now we shall hear from the experience of Ethiopian Airlines. If you may allow me to share the screen. Doreen, you can stop the screen share.
Yeah.
Thank you. So from Ethiopian Airlines, we have Mr. Elias Gezagen, who is the product manager of NDC, who shall take us through the Ethiopian Airlines version of the NDC journey. Elias, you have the floor.
Thank you, Marian. This is Elias. I'm the product manager here in Ethiopian Airlines. Today, I'm going to give you a short brief on our NDC implementation journey, the challenges that we face, and also the fruits that we are actually harvesting. So our NDC, next slide, please. Yeah, next one. Yeah. So our NDC journey starts in the late 2017, just by analyzing the NDC trends, seeing the best practices, watching the implementation guidelines set by IATA, and also other early adopters implementation. So having this in mind, we came up to our company and we do some analysis on our internal processes. And the first thing that we did is just to create an understanding on what NDC is, and also what value would it bring to the company, and so on and so on. So having this initial analysis and an initial introductory kind of activity to the internal users, we tend to go to the reorganizing our internal processes, and also adopting the current distribution processes. Like, for example, for reconciliation, for example, we don't need any new introductory kind of processes. Instead, we use the existing reconciliation process, and other kind of internal process will be reused, having the NDC in mind. So we analyze the current trends, we see the best practices, we saw the implementation guideline from IATA, we reorganize our internal processes, we set a similar tone to our internal personnel, and so on. The third step is just to have that technical capability of building the API, having that NDC IT capabilities, building the infrastructure, making the infrastructure more suitable for handling like NDC requests and so on was the third major step that we did. And also having that in place, we go to IATA and we got certified with IATA certification level 3 with order and offer management. And also we are an ARMS participant for the IATA. Next slide, please. Okay, now we had the best practices in place. We organize our internal processes. We create a commonality and understanding on what NDC is. We set up our IT and infrastructure. We built our APIs. We got certified with IATA, and we select a single pilot agency here a local travel agency. And we saw the in-between process from shopping to final reconciliation and reporting. And we fix different like processes, and even the technicalities also have been fixed with this pilot agency. And now we have everything in place. Now we know the best practices. We have the technical things in place. We have the working solution in place. So the next thing was just to have a portal, like a self-service portal for NDC users, just to do post-booking activities, to see their sales report, and for account management also. So one NDC agency can create sub-agent account and can even share or even distribute to the different travel agencies as aggregators did. So having this in place also, the initial form of payment while the product was launched was the cash in terms of like a deposit or a bank guarantee. And we add like a BSP payment option, which is a crucial thing that we did on the payment option availability. And also we add like ancillary services, like currently we do have like seat and baggage ancillaries active on NDC. So seeing the journey earlier from adopting the current trends, like optimizing our internal processes, having our own APIs, doing a pilot with other travel agency, and enabling them with self-service portal for post-booking activities. And then we onboard global aggregators like Virtual Travel Fusion, APG, just to distribute Ethiopian contents to IATA or non-IATA travel agencies. So as you see, the journey earlier from adopting the concept to connecting to global aggregators, we do have like a long journey for setting up the NDC on the current status. And also we do have a plan just to integrate with GDS NDCs, and also more aggregators and ancillary products will be added to the NDC platform. So in short, this is how we got from earlier from like adopting the concepts and internalizing the concepts, like making like our APIs and IT infrastructure to connecting to aggregators and releasing ancillaries. We do have like such kind of implementation journey. Next slide, please. So in the course, we faced actually many challenges. One of the major things is like maintaining the connection. So having that, the first integration with the pilot agency, there are different travel sellers like OTS, TMCs want to connect to our NDC platform. They have much like interest on using our platform, and maintaining this integration, multiple integration, like direct integration, was a challenge for us. And onboarding and like the in-between process of activating the travel agency was a challenge. Not only this, but also the IT infrastructure costs was very tough, especially when we introduce global aggregators. The shopping request was very huge, and since the look-to-book ratio was very high, like they do have lots of agencies under them. They connect our platform to their B2C, to their mobile app, to their call center, and the shopping request was very huge. And this was one of the challenge that we faced. Actually, we had some kind of like solutions, having the IATA recommendation for like caching, result-based caching. We do have like some kind of actually we saw some kind of improvement on this infrastructure cost. Another challenge was like, as it has been said, different airlines had like different approach that works for them. And also our NDC implementation also has like its own like implementation journey, as you have seen. and identifying this working solution or working path was very high, was very tough. And also, we still depend on our PACS capability. And also there are different things that actually had a limitation on our NDC workflows. Not only this, but also like content differentiation is also another challenge. And also like the existing processes like the GDS servicing and post-sale activities has a challenge even now. And these are actually some of the challenges that we have been facing. May you just go to the next chat, the next slide? Yeah. So in terms of relevance, actually we saw fruits from the NDC, like connecting the OTAs and TMCs and aggregators, like talking to them directly was not very easy on the traditional distribution model, but now it's easy and like a plug and play kind of solution we do have. And also it also enabled us just to modernize our distribution capability, just from the traditional EDIFACT to the XML-based like messaging and communication, and also enable us to maximize our revenues by selling ancillary products. And also it's growing and growing, like the number of aggregators, like the direct connect agencies has much interest on the NDC, and we are seeing actually the fruits from what we have currently. And this is actually the short introductory and a simple journey for what we have been doing so far on NDC. And thank you, Maureen.
Thank you very much, Elias, for sharing with us the NDC story of Ethiopian Airlines. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions for Elias on the experience of ET on NDC? Any questions for Ethiopian Airlines?
Thank you. Thank you. I think that it's a right presentation, and we can just, get some models. It's a very good experience of the Ethiopian airline, I think.
Thank you, Almois.
And it will be really a pleasure enough if we can have some notes and papers that we can work on it,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we shall be sharing the presentations that have been shared in today's webinar, so that you can go through, as well as a recording, which shall be posted on AFRA YouTube channel. And I think someone else has asked about the same on the Q&A. We shall be sharing what has been presented today. Desta has a question for Ethiopian Airlines, and the question is, in percentage terms, what is the NDC share in your distribution mix? I think this is both for ET and KQ, so we can start with ET. And then we go to Doreen for KQ.
Yeah, so in terms of like the percentage, actually I don't have the right figures right now. Yeah.
Okay, and what about Doreen for the KQ percentage?
Sorry, Maureen, I didn't get that. Is it the percentage of?
The percentage, the question is, what is the NDC share in your distribution mix, both for ET and KQ? So the share, the percentage of your mix.
We look at the share in two different ways. We look at it in terms of, one, the share of indirect, which is what you're trying to influence, because it's over and above what you have been doing in the indirect channel versus the number now that NDC is being able to influence. Where we are at right now is at around 6 to 7% on the indirect, on an average of 4% on the total.
Okay, thank you, Doreen. And then there's a question from Mohan Das, Newco. The question is, what is the average response time for an air shopping request to provide the result? I think that can be taken by ET.
Yeah, so regarding the shopping request, we do have like two kind of implementation. As Ayata suggested, we use result-based caching for mostly frequent requested routes. And for that, it's very, very quick, like 1 second or 2 seconds. But we do have like 3 seconds on average, like for the cached one or for the direct one. On average, it will be like 3 second shopping request.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we will wish to proceed with the final part of the workshop. And we wish to take this opportunity to thank Kenya Airways, Doreen, and Ethiopian Airlines, Elias, for taking the time to put together your presentations and share with us your experience so that other airlines may have that as a learning point for them to establish on how they will go about the NDC process. We really appreciate that as part of information sharing. And now we'll shift gears back to you, Eloise, or to the last part of the presentation for today's webinar. You can stop the slides.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to present APG platform, which is the APG NDC product we built since several years. So first, I wanted to speak very quickly about APG network. I think you know us already. Just to remind some facts and figures. So we are generating $2 billion USD per year. We have 10 global distribution products. So some of you know interline ticketing. We have our NDC product. We are working on the GSA side with cargo. So we have different products. We have more than 100 offices in the world. So we have APG members in a lot of different countries in Americas, Africa, Asia, and Europe. And we have more than 200 airline clients worldwide. So we have some clients working with us only for the GSA. Others are working with us for cargo, for NDC. So depending on the needs of the airline, we are working together on different products. So the way we're working is with variable cost. So for the airline, there is always the airline is our client, and there is a fee. But depending on the product, it's usually a percentage. So it's a variable cost for the airline. So multiple products. We are market leaders with our products, with the range of products we have, and the number of offices we have in the world. We are a global network. We have the most extensive network worldwide with over 30 years experience. So it was built 30 years ago with the GSA product first. And after that, we have developed a lot of other products. So now APG platform, which is APG NDC product. So we have built this platform. It is a direct ticketing platform with NDC standard. promoted and supported globally by the APG network. It means each airline present in the APG platform will be distributed worldwide through our APG member locally. It means, for example, we have an office in Panama. So APG Panama, they have a team, and the team is promoting the APG platform locally. So they are honoring new agencies. They have sales calls with them every week, and they are doing this work of promotion locally. The APG platform allows the airline to sell air and non-air products. As soon as something is present in your API, we can sell it. So we have a video about APG platforms. So I'm going.
Hello. Welcome on board.
Oh, sorry.
I recommend you to fasten your seatbelts. Let me introduce you our unique NDC compliant B2B ticketing platform. APG platform is a ticketing platform which assists travel agents to generate additional revenue by enlarging their catalog and by selling air and non-air ancillaries combined. Uniquely, the APG platform is promoted and supported in over 150 countries by the APG network. The APG distribution platform is NDC compliant under the newest XML technology and follows all IATA standards. Log into APG platform with the username you received by email and the password you set beforehand. APG platform allows you to find flights operated by our partner carriers, but if you are interested in a particular carrier, you can click on its logo and search for a flight or a trip. Let's start planning your next adventure. First, choose your travel type, round trip, one way, or open jaw. Select your departure and arrival cities, pick your dates, and specify the number of passengers. Finally, choose your class and hit search. For instance, a Barcelona-Madrid round trip, 29th to 30th of September, one adult in economy class. Our platform sorts the results by the most cost-effective options, but that's not all. We empower you with the freedom to filter the results based on a wide range of criteria. Explore our curated selection of flights and uncover their features. Select your flight and delve into its specificities. Enhance your booking experience with our seamless integration of partners' APIs that allows you to conveniently add luggage, take out an insurance policy, or rent a car during the booking process. Furthermore, we offer a percentage of air and non-air products sold credited back to your APG platform account as cashback. Carefully fill in the information of each passenger, name, surname, date of birth, and so on. Then validate a booking account. Congratulations on your reservation. You'll receive a confirmation email, including a PNR to manage your booking and make changes or cancel before the specified time limit. Manage your bookings on APG platform by clicking on My Bookings. Click on the loop and select Transport Search. Copy and paste the PNR corresponding to your booking reference and access your booking. Finally, issue the ticket, cancel order, or edit a PAX. In case of need, feel free to contact our dedicated help desk based in Paris. APG platform facilitates the booking and issuing process combined with the best prices offers thanks to the NDC technology. Join us today and unlock the future of travel excellence.
Okay, so this is a video we have about APG platforms. So you can see how it is working. Since we did the video, we have implemented more carriers. So now we have 31 carriers available in the APG platform. And we're integrated always more and more airlines. So we have 3 airlines to be live in the next weeks.
Hello.
Awesome. So this is to present our product, why our product is built. In fact, when you are building an API and when you have your NDC product, you are doing the IT part. So there is the IT part, the IT system, but we have also the other part, APG Global Network, which is the sales part. And we have built a unique tool where you have the technology, but the technology has all other IT provider are doing it, other aggregators. So we have this IT system, but on top of that, you have also the sales part. We have APG members worldwide in more than 100 countries who are doing promotion about our product, and this is really unique. So we are doing, of course, the sales part. We have help desk in each country. We are targeting the non-IATA and the IATA travel agencies. So the APG platform opens up a brand new market for your airline. So we are targeting the non-IATA travel agencies, the travel agencies without direct ticketing access to your airline. So the idea is not to take something you have already. If you have already a product, which is NDC, if you are selling through GDS in some countries and you don't want us to touch to these countries or to the travel agency you have connected to your B2B portal, it's not a problem for us. The idea is to fill the gap between what you have, where you are distributed, and where you are not. So it's just to complete your distribution with our product. So also in non-BSP countries, so it could be countries non-BSP at all, or where you are not present in the local BSP. And we are targeting also travel companies looking for API connectivity. So we can connect with our platform through our API merchant companies, merchant websites, such as online travel agencies or consolidators. So for you, the benefit is cost effectiveness. You have a full promotion and support via the APG network. So all APG offices locally are supporting APG platform and are doing the follow-up with the travel agencies. And we take the risk with the travel agency. So if you are going to sign with us with APG platform, we have an agreement together. So the agreement is between APG and the airline. We are taking the risk with the travel agency. You are sure to be paid for the sales done in the APG platform. And if there is a default from a travel agency, it is our responsibility, not the airline responsibility. So this is where we are present. So now we are present in more than 120 countries. We are missing a few more difficult to work with because politically, it's difficult politically, like in Venezuela, for example, or in Iran. In some countries, it's more difficult because of the difficulty to send the money, but we are trying to work worldwide with all the countries. And we have offices in all these countries. So what are your benefits? The benefits for the airlines. It's a new business for you. There is no overlap with existing NDC distribution. The idea is really to give you something else. There is an integration cost, so it has to be negotiated depending on the airline size. It could be not so much or more. It depends also of the API, if the or not, and which version you are using. So we combine an IT platform with a worldwide sales network. So this is what I said. It's really a mix. It's not only an IT tool we are providing to sub-travel agencies. We have also the people to support this tool. We are not an OTA, so there is no undercutting. It combines air and non-air products. So you saw in the video, we have also an agreement with Sixt. So we are proposing also to the travel agencies to book rental cars. We have an agreement with an insurer, so it's possible to book an insurance on top of the airline ticket. So it's other agreements we have with other providers. So it doesn't depend, it's not on the airline. The airline can have an agreement with, I don't know, with Hertz, but we will not offer it. We will offer Sixt because we have the agreement, the direct agreement with this company. So for you, the revenue is secure because we are taking the risk. We are transparent with the point of sales. So if you need to have a report about to know where the sales were made and by which travel agencies it's possible, for you, no risk. It's a nuance. So we can integrate NDC and non-NDC airlines. You just need to have an API, and your API could be NDC or not. But anyway, we can, as soon as the airlines have an API, we can integrate it. So the rule is to have one IATA agency for 3 non-IATA agencies. So our target is really non-IATA travel agencies. For the moment, we have 1,800 travel agencies connected to the APG platform. And of course, this number is increasing every day. Every day, we have more travel agencies in contact with our local offices. So this is the updated list of the airlines partner we have. The last one we integrated is TAP Portugal. And now we are working to integrate in the next weeks SAS. We have Chaman Airline, which is a Chinese airline. And we have Etihad. Etihad will come also in the next weeks. And of course, we have more agreements signed and other airlines to integrate in 2025. So you can benefit from our 30 years experience in sales and distribution. And we are covering a lot of countries. We are covering the world. And we want to offer that to our airlines partner to be promoted worldwide without any risk. So that's it for APG platform. Do you have questions about our product?
Thank you very much, Heloise, for the last part about the NDC platform, and which was the last presentation for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we now open the floor if we have any questions to Heloise on the APG platform. And also we'll have a final take on any questions that you may have had earlier that you did not have an opportunity to ask. This is the opportunity to do so. It's an open forum. We take in your questions, comments, and views. There's a question from Flora asking how is data monitored and audited in the APG platform? Do you have any challenges in data integration with third-party systems?
No, we have, I mean, if the documentation is well done, there is no problem. Sometimes we are facing an issues when the documentation is not well done. So sometimes parts are missing. I don't know, for example, there is a specific rule about the name of passenger. It has to contain a certain number of characters, and it was not in the documentation. So because we didn't know, it was not integrated. And here we can have some issues. So this kind of, the documentation is very important. If the documentation is well done and include everything, the development, the integration is going very good. If something is missing in the certification part, in the last part, we have a lot of errors, and we have to manage these errors. And this is taking a lot of time. But if the documentation provided is correct and complete, there is no problem.
Thank you. And a question from Rabia Abubakar from Jambojet. Are there any costs related to AVS?
To what? AVS?
To AVS. Maybe Rabia, you could unmute your microphone and ask your question verbally to enable better understanding. You can just unmute and ask your question.
Sorry, because I'm not familiar with AVS, so if there is
Okay. Rabia says they have microphone challenges.
okay.
And then there's a question from South African Airways, Vyarsen Raja, asking, where is the airline content hosted?
Posted, the travel agencies, the sub-travel agencies we have can access to the airline's content. If you are speaking about technically, we have some servers in close to Paris in France. I don't know if this is a question, but we are very strict with the data. We are working with another company, so we are doing APG, the sales part, and we have another company, Orchestra, part of the group TravelSoft, who is doing the IT part. They are doing the IT integration. So this is like, you know, they are part of the game, and they are not our partner. Everything related to the data and to the structure is done by themselves, and they are very, you know, strict with the data. But I'm not sure if I replied correctly to the question or not.
Versen, is the question addressed? I hope. If not, maybe you can unmute and make your intervention. Rabia, if you're able to unmute and clarify on your earlier question, your microphone is activated. Vyarsen Raja, South African Airways. Your hand is raised. You have the floor. Vyarsen Raja, you can have the floor to ask your question. Okay, there seems to be a challenge. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have opened the floor for any questions, comments pertaining to the entire webinar. We can now relay that to APG to address any pertinent items that were not asked during the other Q&A sessions. And we have another question that was for Elias of Ethiopian Airlines. I hope Elias is still with us. The question is there a difference between NDC and the portal? He mentions that he heard that ET has a portal, not NDC. Maybe you can clarify on that, Elias.
Sure. So just to clarify a little bit on this, when we say the NDC, it is the API that we give for travel sellers just to build their own platform, like a mobile app, a call center, an aggregator platform, or anything else, just to get Ethiopian contents. It is an API product that we are going to give the travel participant. When we come to the portal, it's a full-fledged platform that the travel sellers can log in and sell the Ethiopian content. So This portal can also serve as a self-service portal for NDC customers just to do post-booking activities and managing their accounts, to see their sales reports and so on and so on. That sound good?
Okay, thank you. Elias? Then another question regarding an earlier aspect of today's workshop. Seife Girma asks how airlines can better safeguard their data when it is accessed through APIs. Eloise?
Yes, can better safeguard the data when it is accessible through APIs. It is really technical. I have no response about that. I can check with our IT provider, with Orchestra, to have this kind of response, because it is really related to the security of the data, and I am not on this part, but I take the question. I will ask to provide some response.
Okay, thank you. And another question, we have Zarina Sirkoth from Eswatini Air. The question is, what is the difference or benefit of implementing NDC via the APG platform rather than directly with IATA NDC?
APG platform is a distribution ticketing platform for travel agencies. So the interest is how the promotion is done. We are present worldwide. We have all our APG members. You can be sure everywhere in the world you will be distributed. So I think it is different with IATA NDC. They have not promotion done worldwide, locally, with the possibility to collect the money with any form of payment, to make the transfer of money and etc. It's really, we have APG. If I take an example, we have APG Senegal. APG Senegal can collect the money from the travel agency. It could be by cash, by credit card, by banking transfer. It is their responsibility. Then they give an access to this travel agency to our platform. And we have an agreement with our office because it is an APG office. And we can collect the money from the office, our office, to APG head office in France. So it's another way to work with the travel agencies. It is really local. We are very local.
Yeah, thank you.
Eloise, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
We asked them from South African Airways. Sorry, I'm not able to unmute for some reason. I asked the question about where is content hosted. What I mean is, like today, we have an inventory system provided by our PSS, and we maintain all our pricing and inventory in that system. And so when it comes to NDC, is it connecting to the same pot, or is it going to be duplicated elsewhere?
It's a connection. You have a connection. If you have, for example, you are building your API with Fairlogics. Fairlogics will create a connection with your PSS.
Okay.
To translate, the content and to make it in the API, but it will be handled by Fairlogics. So it's not a duplication, it's a link between your PSS and your API built by Fairlogics, for example.
Okay, and that's the same for ancillaries like bags and seats.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's like a translation. So, in your PSS, the ancillary services are bag, for example, as this code. They put it in another format. They connect to this ancillary, they put in another format in your API.
I see. Okay. Right, now understood. And so ATPCO, and in terms of all the fair rules, and does it still have its role to play through that process?
Yes, if your PSS is, yes, ATPCO is how you are loading your fare and everything. So it's linked to your PSS, and after that, the link is between the PSS and the API.
Okay. All right. So FairLogix will just pull that content, translate it into a NDC format, and the NDC uses that content to make it or to distribute it to the agents.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
Okay, understood.
Thank you very much, Maxine. And we have another question, Eloise. Do you support IATA Easy Pay in APG platform as one of the FOP to issue the ticket?
So there is two things. APG Travel, which is a travel agency created for the fulfillment of APG platform, is an EasyPay travel agency. So we are gold standard, but we can use EasyPay to pay the airlines. So you as an airline, you can be paid through EasyPay. But we are a travel agency. So when we collect the money from the sub-travel agencies, it's not possible to pay us with EasyPay, of course, because we can use this between two travel agencies. But we can pay the airline with EasyPay, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Another question is, how frequently are the new versions released of the NDC? We heard that KQ was migrating from the 18.1 to 21.3.
Yes, now I think we are in the first step of upgrade of API. We have some airlines doing an upgrade, actually. I think it should be done every maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on the upgrade of the technology.
Okay.
But for the moment, our APG platform is existing since 4 years, and we are reaching the step where we have the upgrade of the API from the airline. And we're really in this, we are integrating new airlines, but in the same time, we have to integrate the new API, the new airlines API we have already integrated a few years ago. So just keep in mind, if you are doing your upgrade, to inform us in advance to make us able to make this new integration in the correct time, and to avoid to have a lack of content for a few weeks, months, we don't know. But each time there is an upgrade for the aggregators, it's a new integration to be done. So it has to be considered.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Alfred from Vertail Technology asks, if an airline is distributed through APG, do they need to keep their own designator or appear as a GP?
No, there is no link between APG airlines. GP is the alpha code of APG airlines. APG airlines, it's our airline. There is no link between APG airlines and our NDC product. We have an interline etiqueting product, APG IET, and if an airline wants to be sold in GDS de facto with our code, we can have an interline agreement. It could be interesting for the airline because we are present in all the BSP worldwide and in all the GDS. So if an airline wants to be distributed, for example, in Japan, they could need to have an interline agreement with APG Airlines because APG Airlines is present in the Japanese BSP. So it is another product, totally different. Here, all the airlines sold on APG platform are plated on the operating carrier plate. We are not using another code. If you are doing a booking with American Airlines, we have a booking, the PNR of American Airlines, since the tickets are issued on 001 plate. So it's totally different from a GP product.
Thank you. I hope that addresses the question adequately. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. And we have actually extended the time that had been planned for the workshop, but we do appreciate your kind attention and the very engaging discussions, the questions, the comments that have enriched the quality of the discussions today. So we shall now do the wrap up, and then we'll make a final very important announcement, which is the cherry on the cake, and close the webinar. From the African Airlines Association, we wish to thank APG for coming together with AFRA to host this very important workshop on NDC implementation and opportunities. We've had an opportunity to look at what is NDC in detail, what are the benefits, what are the challenges, and how can airlines implement NDC step by step. We also had two of our member airlines, Ethiopian Airlines and Kenya Airways, program managers joining us to give us their use case, sharing their story on what it took them to implement the NDC and the challenges they've gone through, as well as to give us final word on whether NDC is relevant or not, which we see from both airline experiences that NDC is indeed a value add. It's relevant in as much as we have their part of the journey, there are some costs implication and part of the challenges, and there are also very important benefits. Overall, it's beneficial neat thing to adopt by airlines, and what we wish to recommend to the rest of the airlines. You've heard it from the solution provider, the experts, you've heard it from the airlines, and the next step is for you to take the decision on whether you shall be ready to implement NDC and which approach you shall take. AFRA remains reachable for any questions, any comments, and if you wish to reach directly to experts, not just to our partner NDC, even to expert advice, we have AFRA Consulting. We're able to give you that kind of support, and reach us through afra@afra.org. At this point, I'll wish to invite Eloise to make the final remarks before we make our announcement and to close this webinar. Eloise?
Yes, thank you, Maureen. So once again, thank you very much to everyone. I hope I gave you some information valuable about NDC. I tried to make it clear, and it is very important to ask internally this question: is it valuable or not? Do we want to go there, and how to do it? It's crucial for the future of your distribution. So thank you very much again. If you want to keep in touch with myself, do not hesitate to request my contacts. I will be very happy to give you more information about NDC or about our product APG platform. And I hope to meet you personally in the future. Thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you very much, Eloise. We shall be sharing the presentations, ladies and gentlemen, and shall include the contacts of APG in the presentation, so that you wish to reach out to Eloise and the team, you may feel free to do so at your own discretion. AFRA partners with various non-airline aviation related organizations such as APG. We also partner with the OEMs, and the main overall objective is to develop the air transport industry in Africa. One of the things that we do with our partners is such kind of information sharing platforms through workshops, seminars, trainings that are given through the expertise through African Airlines. And in the lineup for the rest of the year, we have very informative and exciting workshops. We have in the month of September and October, Boeing and AFRA workshops on network planning and also on aircraft maintenance. We also have another one on loyalty programs. It's one that you do not want to miss with AFRA and Visa. Other upcoming workshop seminars are disseminated on our AFRA website and on our industry affairs monthly webinar that takes place the last Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Nairobi time. The link is going to be shared on the chat box. You can register once and select to participate for the entire schedule of the year. You don't need to register each and every time. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been saving this last announcement. Very important AFRAA-APG collaboration that has been cooking behind the scenes. We have training being very important for AFRA members. You've heard also from the Kenya Airways experience that part of the NDC implementation journey requires knowledge sharing, training, awareness. And we are looking at how we can give African airlines very cost-effective online courses. So we want to transform skills career with the APG Academy expertly designed online courses. So we shall be announcing very soon the courses that shall be held through this program. And to announce this, allow me to share the video that will share some more insights on what is coming up under the AFRA-APG Academy collaboration.
You are not familiar with Interline or how airport slots are managed. You don't know why airlines have various codes or what purpose they serve. And you are still wondering what the role of the BSP is. With its solid background in the air transportation industry, APG presents to you APG Academy. APG Academy is a set of clear and concise online courses that enable professionals in the industry to have the right tools and best practices. The airlines have understood since the beginning of air transport the interest of the interline. It enables them to expand their range of destinations even if they do not operate the flights made by their partners. As a result, this leads to the creation of additional revenue originating in countries where the operating airline is not present. It is also a diverse range of courses constantly updated to adapt to the evolution of the industry. APG Academy offers courses that are adapted to each individual person's needs and agendas, with courses that range from 25 to 45 minutes, available in French and English, designed for managers or executives. Course prices range from €29 to €99, with many available payment methods. APG Academy, your training partner in the fields of airline sales and distribution. You are not familiar with
Thank you very much. So that's just to give you a taste of what is coming up. The courses are fully online. You can learn at the comfort of your location and busy schedules, very cost effective. You get a certification at the end of the day. And once ready, we shall be launching this and placing that on the website and various AFRA channels. And if you wish to make any inquiry, please feel free to contact the Secretariat through the email address training@afra.org. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the tail end of today's workshop. It's been quite long, but the discussions have been quite informative and fruitful. We thank you for your participation, and we want to keep the discussion going. Please feel free to reach out to AFRA Secretariat through the contacts you have with the team. And you can also send an email afra@afra.org. We want to keep this knowledge sharing through workshops and webinars going through the support of our partners. And at this point in time, we shall bring the workshop today to a close and wish you a fruitful remainder of the week. Thank you.